Disney World bans eating and drinking while in attraction queues. The Disneyland Resort is moving closer to a reopening date for Buena Vista Street as part of its downtown Disney expansion, and mayors from across California have come together to urge the governor to reconsider his theme park reopening guidelines and encourage him to rethink the whole Disneyland reopening process as well. It is November 7th, 2020. It is our one-year anniversary, and Kingdom Report Live starts right now.
To all who come to this happy place, welcome.
Starting, as always, with that live look outside at the Disneyland Resort on this, well, a little cloudy, a little rainy fall day. Beautiful November day out there at California Adventure. As we look off into the distance, we see ourselves a little Incredicoaster action. And, of course, that portion of the Disneyland Resort that will soon be open to all of us, which we can't wait for. Hello, my friends, and a very happy Saturday to you. Wade Heath joining you once again from the Warner Brothers Studios Media District here in beautiful Burbank, California, where it is the first storm of the season. Things are a little rainy, and might I say, quite pleasant. If you're a Californian, this is like the greatest thing to ever happen because we just can't handle it when new weather comes into the mix and we get all amped up and excited. And to me, that spells pure joy. Who doesn't love a good rainy day, a good rainy morning? We are celebrating our one-year anniversary for Kingdom Report Live. Can't believe that it's already been a year that we have been on air with you. So as always, thank you for making us a part of your weekend and for allowing us to bring you some of that Disney Parks news and perspective, as we always try to do. While the world might be a little chaotic, we are here to provide you a bit of an escape. We are always here to provide you a bit of a distraction, as we have been with you now through so much of the pandemic and so much of all the political strife that's been going on throughout the year. It means so much that you turn to us each and every Saturday for a little bit of magic and a little bit of, hopefully some cheer. We definitely try our best to ride that line between covering things that we need to discuss and then also looking for the positive in all of it. So certainly grateful to have you with us. And who is us? Well, as always, joined by a team here, and that would happen to be first and foremost from AttractionPaction.net, Katina Manzone and Tyler Crouch.
Hi, everybody.
Hello. It's been a year.
I can't believe it myself. What? Yeah, look at that.
Christmas.
You know, it was raining today, and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go for a nice stroll and just enjoy the rain and the sound. And then I looked at the weather, and it was actually like 48 degrees at the house. I was like,
gosh.
what? And so it really put me into Christmas mood. So I'm really excited. So I'm going to put my tree up tomorrow. But I brought this on today. So
You said your tree's going up tomorrow?
Yes.
How about that?
I know.
Yeah.
It was supposed to go up last week, but we were busy. That whole doorknob thing turned into a 2-day ordeal.
Oh, my.
I know. It was my fault because I'm like a perfectionist. So it was a long story. Anyway.
Tell me about it.
So
Having to live through that, Tyler, you poor guy.
You see my long
He was such a
stare
trooper.
that I'm doing? I'm like,
And
Anyway.
you also happen to have a special ring
I
on. I see.
do.
Look
I
at
have
that.
a little, you can't really see it, but it's a little Santa Claus ring.
You know what?
I just
There's
wanted to get on
nobody-
Christmassy.
There's nobody that gets more into the spirit.
Wait until next week. I'm going to do my nails.
Oh.
I didn't have time this week. I was so busy, but I always do my nails in November. and December and January Christmassy.
In January.
And February, March, April, May,
I was
June,
gonna
July,
say,
and
let's
then we're back
extend
again
that out
Christmas.
to August. We're good. Absolutely. Well, and already here locally in Southern California, our local Christmas music station that tends to flip that switch, they've already done it.
Oh my God, they did.
Very little fanfare this year, I think, because typically they usually start with kind of an announcement as to when the Disneyland party is going to be. The local radio station that goes all Christmas here in Southern California, they tend to have a huge Christmas party that they throw at Disneyland or at California Adventure, just coincidentally. And then they sort of promote that as they go all the way up to flipping the switch to all Christmas music all the time, all the way through Christmas. A lot of stations across the country I know do that, but they've already done it here in Southern
they do
California.
it in November. Usually it's like December 1st or something they started, or right the day after Thanksgiving. And then Thursday I turned on my car and I was like, oh my gosh.
It's happening.
It's Christmas.
I thought they did it late this year. They usually do it.
Huh? No, they do it in November. They do it
That's what I thought.
Oh,
I
yeah.
thought you just said
I
that they
usually
do it in December. But
No, a lot of radio people do
I
it
see.
in this like the day after Thanksgiving they start
Got it.
Christmas.
Got it.
Yeah,
Stuff.
this time around,
But not this station.
typically second week of November, usually after Veterans Day, they seem to have that as a sweet spot where they flip that switch and it becomes Christmassy. But nope, we're not even waiting for it. And speaking of not even waiting, I can't wait any longer than to introduce from the production dungeon, Producer Kurt, ladies and gentlemen. Here he is.
Why, hello.
Woo!
Kurt, I can't.
you.
Number one, I can't believe you're here. Number two,
Yeah.
do you have a cup in which to share with the world?
I do have another cup for you today. It's
Oh.
my T-Rex cup from Orlando.
oh,
From Disney Springs. So,
what on
Yay.
earth?
you know, I find out that I actually have 3 of them. Every time we've gone.
You alcoholic.
Yeah, we bought one and I have been there 3 times. So.
It's more exciting than the food at the restaurant.
Yeah, exactly. Every 15, 20 minutes, the meteors go off. That's the best time.
That is the best part. You're right.
And
I
that's
think so.
always when my server would come over too. Is when exactly.
Excuse
that
me,
time.
I'm taking the Instagram video right now.
Yeah.
Please get out of the way.
Well, no, it's like he would try to, say, "Oh, what would you like to order?" around that time when all
Sure.
the meteors were going out. So,
Exactly.
What's your favorite dish that you are served at T-Rex?
I think there was some kind of. I mean, the food is so memorable. It's hard to. But I'm pretty sure it was a barbecue dish of some kind, like ribs or something like that. So
Okay, yeah.
That I like.
Fred Flintstone style at the T-Rex.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It tips the whole car over, and
That'd be
You brought a
great.
car in the T-Rex?
yeah,
Wow.
exactly. Well,
This man's a rebel.
yeah,
Did you take your shoes off too?
yeah. Why not? Let's go with that. Let's go with that narrative. Well, we'll say I did.
And you feel so much larger today than you typically do. Like
Yeah.
your face has expanded. You feel closer to everyone.
I
it
thought
seems.
that I would go for that kind of look today.
Wow,
I
very
don't
intimate.
feel like you have enough of me when
No.
I'm on camera. So now.
Well, we
it's
went
like,
several weeks without you, and now here you are again, and it's like we just want that face of yours. I think
Exactly.
that's all we need in our life, and put that on a bumper sticker. That face.
I'll
I like it.
Yeah,
I'll just have my face for the rest of the show. That's fine.
I like that. Yeah,
Good
let's do
times.
it. Well, folks, Walt Disney World has gone out of their way to all across the board implement all kinds of things when it comes to health and safety standards in this COVID world, and we've watched as they have gone to great lengths to make sure that everybody is, number one, as comfortable as possible, but number two, there's no way in which anybody can claim that there are some unhealthy things going on or a potential for things to occur that might contribute to an unhealthy environment during this pandemic. One of the things that they have added this week is something that we noticed for the first time just a couple days ago, and that is no more eating or drinking in attraction queue spaces. So if you're in line for, say, any sort of classic attraction, like say you're in line for Dumbo, say you are about to ride Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, they are now asking that you do not remove your mask to consume anything while in line. There are even new signs that are just outside of each attraction that indicate that at this point, this is it. This is where you stop eating and drinking for the sake of everybody. So it looks like, Tyler and Katrina, they are finally clamping down on that rule. And they did it early on, where initially you were given the freedom to, while walking, eat and drink, and of course that got abused immediately, and of course people were using that as an excuse to keep their mask down the entire time and just keep a cup near their face. So that got wiped away. Now you have to only eat and drink while stationary is their rule, but we've now seen that they're taking that a step further all these months later since reopening, and Katrina, now they're saying not while you're in line either.
I'm okay with it. But because, again, people abused it, right?
Yeah.
They're just like, okay, I'm just going to leave my mask down this whole time and just slowly eat all my food and have this popcorn and whatever. And so it's just like, thanks a lot for abusing it. So now we all can't eat and drink quickly or whatever while we're in line if we have a popcorn or whatever, and just to, waste some time and then just while you're in line waiting. But anyway, so now you
Ruined
can't
it
do
for all of us.
Thanks a lot. But, I'm happy with it. I think that it's fair. I think it's kind of a bummer for children because I'm sure like they want to, it's going to be hard to explain to the kids like, okay, no, we can't have popcorn right now because you're going to be wanting to eat it and we can't eat it right now. So let's get it afterwards.
Yeah.
But then how do you finish your popcorn within, it's meant to like slowly eat versus shoving in your face and then getting on another ride. So that's like the only bummer part.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised that they didn't do this earlier, to be honest. I kind of thought that it came with the territory of like, don't, like only take off your mask if you're sitting in an area. Like I kind of thought that they kind of were hand in hand, but I guess now they have to be more specific about it, which I think is a good thing personally. It's a kind of a bummer in the way that like, it's always a good time to get a soda or a beer or something like that and just drink it while you're waiting in a long line. I get it, but I think it's better for everybody. So
And,
I'm on board.
To a certain degree, I think it's worth noting that most lines at Walt Disney World at the moment, because attendance is sort of capped and that capacity is limited, typically lines move fairly quick. So, to really be worried about, I'm standing in line for an hour, waiting to get on a classic attraction, which typically would have happened, right? Like you would have been waiting in line for an hour for Splash Mountain or Big Thunder Mountain. And so, having some sort of sustenance with you is probably quite helpful, especially if you're maybe somebody with health problems or, diabetic and, you're looking for that blood sugar.
Yeah.
And so I can understand the legitimate concern that some people have. But as of right now, most lines move fairly quick. Most times, by the way, that I noticed while I was out there, were completely misquoted on the boards in front of the attractions.
Isn't it always, though?
Yeah, but far more now than ever. I was
Okay.
noticing that everywhere I went, if it said 45 minutes on the outside, typically it was 10 to 15.
Wow.
And I was kind of blown away by how much quicker it was to get into those attractions.
Well, I think a lot of people forget that without like Fast Pass is really the thing that slows these lines down so much. And without Fast Pass being around, things are so much quicker, even though they are still, staggering loading of vehicles and stuff like that in a lot of these rides. Just the absence of Fast Pass makes it kind of cool. I don't know. It's kind of nice in a way, but I still like getting my Fast Passes and kind of having that plan of what we're doing. So I don't want Fast Passes to go away, but it's just a reminder of how much they slow the actual standby line
They
down.
definitely impact the overall capacity and movement throughout the parks, and always have. So great point to make. Hey, over in Disney Springs, a couple things are going on. We want to mention that the M&M store that was quickly coming to Disney Springs out there in Orlando was on its way and was going to be premiering likely Thanksgiving or just after Thanksgiving. That was kind of what they were set for. However, it looks like the store is now delayed to 2021. This seems like a great space, Disney Springs, for an M&M store, of all places to do an M&M store, or, the World of Coke, kind of like they have over in Disney Springs already. These sort of anchor stores for these fun brands. Great idea. I think it'll be really well suited for a Disney Springs atmosphere. But it looks like they are delayed temporarily and will be opening come the new year. I feel really bad. There were a lot of vendors and third-party businesses that were trying to open up this year throughout Disney Springs, that some of them made it, some of them didn't, and other places that had been around closed, as we have seen. That's unfortunate to know that this was the year you were going to try and open something new, because it's been so hard on businesses that are already established, that have already opened up just to survive. So to say, you were going to pump a bunch of resources into opening this year, that's got to sting a little bit to know that you got to kick it down the road a little bit. Right, Tyler?
It is, but especially for the smaller businesses, I'm not that worried about M&Ms. Mars is going to be fine, but it's bad for the smaller businesses. But I'm willing to wait longer for the M&M store. I've been to the one in Vegas and in London, and one of the things that's really cool about the M&M store is like going to the big wall of M&Ms and like kind of putting together the colors that you want, and they have all these weird colors that don't come in an actual pack of M&Ms and stuff like that. So I think that's cool, and I just don't know how you would do that with COVID right now, with everybody going up and pulling on the same handles, right? So it just, probably needs to be delayed. Probably one of their biggest sellers is that type of stuff because they charge so much money for just a different color M&M. But
they taste different because of the color.
We got to do that Rhett and Link thing, that good mythical morning thing where they like try and taste colors. We'll try and figure that out
Red
someday.
tastes like strawberry.
Yes, I just don't think it's true.
We all knew that.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite M&M?
Blue.
Yeah,
Yeah. and if you remember, we all voted blue in.
that's right.
And we did that. We did that this week and with the M&Ms. But
Have you ever had like the peanut butter M&Ms or the peanut M&Ms?
Peanut butter
or the pretzel
M&Ms are so good.
Ah.
I love them.
I miss the crispy ones. I don't think they make the crispy ones anymore. Maybe they do, but I just can't find them anywhere. Those were really good, and the pretzel ones were really good.
I feel like they've kind of saturated the market when it comes to all of the M&M types and flavors now. There's so many that I don't even know what exists and what doesn't anymore.
Yeah.
Because I feel like every time I'm at the store, I see an M&M's display. There's all these new ones that I haven't heard of, and then there's all these ones from the past where I'm like, well, I don't know which ones to get now because I want to try something new. Oh,
Can they make a dark chocolate M&M?
I think they do.
Oh, what?
I wouldn't be
We've had them
surprised.
before, yeah.
There's also
Remember,
the,
I bought that big bag at the grocery store.
also the
Oh
caramel
my God,
M&Ms.
you're right.
Yeah.
Well, no doubt at this store, you're going to be able to
I ate
try
them
all
so
of them.
fast because I was just like bored and I was by the refrigerator and then I would just like go by and grab a handful. I'm like, these are dangerous.
They are very dangerous.
Oh,
Because I like dark chocolate. I don't really like M&Ms because they're just like I don't like a milk chocolate. But
yeah.
but yeah, they're really good. I like the peanut butter ones.
Peanut butters are my favorite.
They're
I usually
delish.
get a little bag of those when I go to the movies. If they've got like the bulk candy that you can choose from, I always get my peanut butter M&Ms. Elsewhere in Disney Springs, though, we want to mention that it looks like the testing that was going on when it comes to the new security screening process, they were doing this at one parking garage when Disney Springs had reopened back in May, and they were testing out those new contactless security screening systems. You know, those like pillars that you can just walk through, and they don't really have to touch anything anymore. Security doesn't have to look through your bag. Mainly, you can just walk on through and there's no problem. And they've started introducing these at all the theme parks across Walt Disney World, saving everybody a heck of a lot of time. We've talked about it in long form here before, where these things just save you not only time, but also hassle. And if you're watching us, you're seeing a video right now as to how these work for kind of major event venues and lots of people all coming through one main portal. Well, it turns out that not only are they using these for most of the theme parks now, they're also putting these at all of the entry points for Disney Springs, where, as before, they only had that one that they were testing out in the parking garage, and then you could really just free flow through all of the areas in Disney Springs, and it wasn't necessarily an issue. Well, now they have these security checkpoints that you have to pass through in order to obtain entry to the property itself. This is good news from the perspective of, I think back to the Orlando massacre that occurred several years ago, the Pulse nightclub shooting. It's far too forgotten, I should say, that the person that carried that out first stopped by Disney Springs. And that's something that nobody talks about, but first stopped by Disney Springs and was casing Disney Springs to potentially carry out that style of an attack. From that point forward, I think there's always been a legitimate security concern about big open air mall-like atmospheres like a Disney Springs, where you have tens of thousands of people all very close together, and on top of it, it's got that Disney stamp on it, so there's a lot of women and children there. So it's nice to know that finally the security measures have been put into place to at least screen everybody that's entering, because before that wasn't really an option because there were so many entry points into Disney Springs, it didn't seem to matter. Nice to see this is happening, Katrina.
I'm really happy to see this happening because every time we would go in, I would always every time we would just drive in, I would always like look to time and be like, why isn't this being a checkpoint? Like, why don't they have security at Disney Springs? That doesn't make any sense. Like, they check you everywhere else and they don't do it here, and yet there's so many people that come here all the time and they do it at Disneyland, so why don't they do it here? And it always just amazed me that they never did. So I'm really happy that they did. Bummer though, now we can't bring our barbecue and start a barbecue over there by Raglan Road.
How am I gonna get my hot dogs?
Sorry, Gared.
How am I gonna
our
get my kosher
barbecue's
hot dogs?
canceled.
That's
so
rough.
That's a bummer.
Yeah.
But I'm really happy that we're gonna be safer because it always just it always made me feel uneasy with how many people, like even during Christmas, it's just packed there. You can't move, and there's just so many bodies. So just that one person can damage so many people.
Yep.
And ruin everything. So I'm really happy that they're doing this because
And the nice part
it was needed.
And
It
the nice part
definitely
about this,
needed.
Tyler, is that, as we've talked about before with this system, you're virtually not even bothered. You just walk right past these pillars and you're done.
Yeah,
You
I
guys
mean,
know.
it's really actually amazing technology. I wish I kind of want to look at one of their screens and like see exactly what they're seeing and how this is working. I did find one shortcoming with the whole system when I was in Florida, which is they want you to take out your umbrella of all things.
Yeah,
So
that's
and you have to take out your umbrella and then hold it in front of you, because I didn't know that when I first was coming through, when it was going to be possibly a rainy day, and they pulled me aside and then they're like, okay, put your umbrella on the front next time. I'm like, okay. So I would really love to see what they're doing, but the technology is amazing. I'm happy that you can quickly go through security and do it at Disney Springs now, and I think it's a positive change. And if you think about it too, this is a nice thing where they always hesitated to put security at Disney, like in the beginning, you know, like very long ago at this point, because they felt like it was going to take you kind of out of the whole Disney situation. It was going to remind you of the real world, like things like that. Now you're just walking past a couple of blue things. It's really not, you know, it's really a lot different than somebody rifling through all your stuff. And
Think they're gonna decorate it like all Disney-fied and stuff?
they should, right?
That would be fun.
Just like
that'd
little
be
Mickey
beautiful.
Mouse like pictures and stuff around
through
there,
the
being
holidays,
like, "Welcome,
Put Santa hats on.
don't mind us."
There you go. I like it.
Yeah, that'd be cute. Let's do it. Come on, Disney.
It's entirely possible. Well, I also experienced that during my last Walt Disney World trip where I walked through it. It was I had pulled out the umbrella as requested and put it in front of me. What ended up triggering the alarm was the gimbal stick that I had from my camera.
Gimbals.
It's a little too mechanical apparently, and so it triggered the alarm to think maybe it was something else. And then it became all right, we need to go through and take a look at what you got there. Took all of maybe less than a minute for them to just take a look. They said, open up your bag. They took a look and they said, all right, off you go. Oddly enough, it didn't trigger again at any other park. So I guess
Is there
it
like
was
security settings or
sensitive?
something? Like they put it on maximum security and then they like scan more than other ones? Because I
maximum
swear.
sensitivity.
Because like I remember like we'd go through like the security checkpoint and then sometimes it would ding with my my Apple Watch or whatever, and I'd walk through and they're like, no, you have to raise it up in the air, and I'm like, okay, so I like walk through, and then another time like I just like walk through and I put my hand up and they're like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't they told me to do this.
Yeah, I know. The metal detectors definitely had some sort of sensitivity, so I wouldn't be surprised if this does too. But it is. You're right. Sometimes they would want you to do certain things that next time it wouldn't be
I
that
look
big
like
of a
a
deal. So it's the
stupid
same with the
person.
gimbal, I'm sure. But maybe there is some sensitivity marker on there that we don't know about.
I mean, it goes back to, like TSA screening, same thing where every time I walk through a TSA scanner, I get stopped and I have to get my right ankle patted down.
That's me and my ponytail.
I don't know what it is.
They like scrunch my ponytail. They're like, burp, burp. I'm like, what are you doing? I don't have anything. I don't even have bobby pins in there.
Yeah,
I don't know.
very
So I mean,
bizarre.
I wear cargo shorts a lot, and the cargo shorts would set off those little kind of X-ray machines a lot of the time, and I
Is
don't
there,
know.
like,
They would be
bagginess?
like, "Oh, I have to check your back pocket," and I'd be like, "You just want to touch my butt? I know what you're
That's
doing."
probably what it is. Yeah, scandalous to say the least. Well, it's some unfortunate news across Walt Disney World. We've also heard that the Minivan service, which had been preemptively suspended going into the reopening of Walt Disney World, they've offered an update, Disney has, when it comes to that service, where it's essentially Uber Disney style. For anybody that doesn't understand what minivans do, they can pick you up via the Lyft app, and you can decide to take a cast member-driven vehicle to your destination. But they've offered an update Disney has when it comes to service as it relates to transfers to Orlando International Airport. Their official statement says minivan service is temporarily unavailable at Walt Disney World. Please note that minivan service to and from Orlando International Airport will not be available for bookings until further notice, including as either a package, add-on, or standalone option. We are working with guests with existing minivan bookings to arrange alternate transportation during their stay. I think one of the big concerns that I have in all of this is so much has already been eliminated across the board when it comes to Walt Disney World staffing and services. This seems like one of those things that I never really saw catch on like wildfire. I think they were anticipating it was going to. You would see the minivans everywhere. I would never see anybody in the back seat.
Because they're so expensive.
Yeah.
It didn't make any sense unless you needed like the only reason it made sense is if you needed like a child seat or something like that. But other than that, the first time we did it, we were like under the impression that they were going to give us water or something. That didn't happen. Did we tell the story about Animal Kingdom the one time?
Yes.
Okay,
I
yeah.
don't know, maybe.
I remember that story.
They dropped us. Uber drops you off right at the front of Animal Kingdom, and this guy driving the minivan talking it up so much. Oh, we drop you off in the front. It's the biggest, coolest thing ever. And we're like, cool, awesome.
Right in the action.
And then we were all the way at the end of the bus stop. So it was like, this is worse than Uber, and I'm paying twice as much. So it didn't even make any
I think
sense.
it was like 3 times as much usually because we were at like Magic Kingdom or like we're at the Contemporary or something, so it shouldn't be like that much. And then it was just like, and I remember them talking it up at D23. Remember they had like a prototype minivan at the D23 before, and they're like, this is like never before seen. And I swear to God, they said that they were giving, it was like a luxury kind of thing. They had like baby seats, water, whatever, you know, like things to plug in your phone. So then that's when I was like, okay, yeah, it's like we're strapped for time. We need to make our fast pass. Let's do a minivan. It'll drop us right in the action. And then I was thirsty, so I was like, "Oh, do you have water?" And he's like, "No." And I was like,
Yeah.
and so I was like, "Okay, that really sucks." And then we were like going into like that 1 hour mark, like we're literally gonna miss our fast pass, and then we had to like book it from the back of the buses, and then buses just stopped, so we had all the people coming off the buses.
Oh,
I was
no.
like, "This is like the worst." And I was like, "I never want to do this again." I think we did it one more time, and it was like a $50 ride, and I was like.
Yeah, I mean, the only other thing, I guess, besides a child seat that makes sense for the money is you're getting that Disney touch. You're not getting some random guy who just wants his tip and then he's gonna leave you and not talk to you the whole time and be kind of weird or whatever. You're gonna get the cast member who wants to make your day better and make it special. And so that was another reason to do it, but it still was a lot of money. And
the airport one, that was the one I'm most sad about.
Sure,
because that's like the Disney kiss. You know, like you don't have to get an Uber. It's like Disney-fied.
That
you know?
mini decorated van shows up with all the polka dots
like,
to pick
that's
you
like,
up.
That's the start of our vacation. I
Whiskey
get it.
away.
But to go from one park to another park, it's not worth it.
So was I the only one that was confused as well? That I thought that like minivans were gonna just be done, but it sounds like with this story that they're planning on, they're keeping it in the background for now, and they could bring it back. Was I the only one confused by that?
I thought they were done too.
Okay,
Yeah, so to hear this announcement
dun,
made me
dun.
think, oh, is there a hope for life here? Which is great.
Yeah.
I just, I've taken it myself, and I feel that it is vastly overpriced. And other than, I'll say in all the experiences that I've had, other than the drop-off for Magic Kingdom, because it drops you off where the buses drop you off. And obviously, if you've ever visited Magic Kingdom, parking in general and trying to pick up an Uber means you have to cross Seven Seas Lagoon and go all the way back to the transportation and ticket center, and it's a whole process, especially at the end of the night when everybody's trying to do the same thing. It's really nice to have those minivans pull right up curbside and you can jump in. However, all those extra perks that Katrina was mentioning, that I remember them mentioning during D23 when they were introducing the concept, I don't see those perks either when I'm in those minivans, and I think that was a big sell point was, oh, you're just going to be taken care of from point A to point Z. I didn't get that
Even
either.
with the small little Dasani water, I would have been happy with, and like a thing to plug in my phone to have it charged while we're driving. Like I have Uber drivers that offer me water,
Same here.
and like little
Or have
cords. Like, do you have a
awesome
cord? Do you
chargers,
need a cord? I'm
Right.
like, yes, I do need a cord.
Always check where those cords are going, by the way, so that they don't steal your information. Anyway, that's a
True.
side.
Lift all your intel, and suddenly your banking info is gone. Yes,
Oh my
yes. Well, at any rate, while we hope to see the minivan service sort of resuscitated in some regard, maybe reworked, now we know for sure that everything is off the table when it comes to minivan service currently, and we will certainly wait to see what happens to that. So you're probably wondering, where is Gared Hassel, our Walt Disney World reporter? Well, the holidays have hit Walt Disney World. The Magic Kingdom has had its halls decked. And by God, if he hasn't filed a report for us, it's Gared on the go time. Let's go.
Hello my friends and happy holidays. This is Gared from the Kingdom Report, and I'm here at none other than the Magic Kingdom, and you might have guessed like, hey, what's all that garland doing there? Well, Magic Kingdom is dressed up for the holiday season, and that's what this video is all about. We're gonna go on inside, look at all the beautiful decorations and merchandise and every other little thing that they have. Just from walking in and being in Town Square right here, the decorations for Christmas are already surpassing Halloween's, because Halloween didn't have all that much for its decoration. There were no ghosts, nothing other than the pumpkin wreath hanging around. So I'm very pleasantly surprised that this is all decked out and ready to go. Main Street is lit up, as well as many of the other lands. The Jingle Cruise, which is the Jungle Cruise version that is done with rhyming and with a Christmas spirit, is going to be here, and we're going to check that out as well. But there she is, Cinderella Castle in the distance, looking gorgeous. Main Street's ready to go. I love the decorations. I just can't wait for the parks to stay open later, and then we get the projection mapping that's going to happen on the castle with some holiday splendor. There you got the garland on there. Got Eeyore, Rabbit, and Piglet doing their thing. But now, let's go check out Main Street, check out all the decoration outside. We've done the Emporium. This is like the main area. Everything else is usually the same old, same old. Hello there, beautiful. I wasn't talking to you, I was actually talking to her. Cinderella Castle, beautiful as ever. I am really a fan of what they've done with this creation. The gold on there, not the rose gold, just the standard gold just pops. The rose gold, it looks very similar to Disney, to Sleeping Beauty Castle out of Disneyland, but it still looks gorgeous, and in the lighting, when it's getting hit by light or not in light, it stands out, it looks good. The holiday decorations around it are simple and elegant, where you've got blue with just white and gold. Very tasteful, very classic. I love all the decorations that they've done here at the Magic Kingdom. I can't wait to come back after November 6th when the holidays are in full swing here and the characters will have their Christmas attire on along with the holiday cavalcades. There is so much to show, so don't worry, there's going to be much more holiday videos coming out in the future. But until next time, this has been Gared from the Kingdom Report, and it's been a pleasure.
Out at Disneyland, big news. They have finally announced that California Adventure, part of that Downtown Disney expansion, well, they are officially opening up Buena Vista Street and with a date to go along with it, finally. I think we were all anticipating something perhaps a little sooner, but it looks like Buena Vista Street at California Adventure is part of Downtown Disney's expansion process. Is happening on November the 19th and will include some popular restaurants as well as some retail establishments, really helping to provide that extra space to spread out for Downtown Disney, that extra capacity that they have been so looking forward to. Very thrilled to hear that we finally have a date, that it is happening, and now we can plan for it. Katrina,
Wait.
November 19th, did you think it was going to be any sooner than that?
Yeah, I really thought it was going to be, because they made it sound like beginning of November, just you wait. And then, so I was like, I don't know, maybe like that Friday or something, they're probably going to open it up. And then I was like, oh, the middle of the month in November? On a
Past
Thursday?
the middle of the month.
Yeah, it's like I was like, oh, okay, cool. I mean, hey, I'm okay with it, honestly. I'm excited. I'm waiting for reservations to start because popular restaurants are right. Carthay Circle's opening. So I'm ready to go. I'm just checking every day.
Yeah, I look every day for reservations to Carthay Circle.
I have done the same thing.
Yeah.
Have you really? You're doing it for 3, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
4, I guess
go.
Kurt can come too.
Well, if Kurt wants to join us,
we got to do 5 for 6 for Stacy and Stitch.
Oh my gosh.
That's right.
The whole family.
He gets his whole seat to himself. But
Stitch, the dog, and the wife.
I'm super stoked. Because you can't. They have to do reservations, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because they can't just like open it, you know.
A table service restaurant like
open
that,
it.
I would imagine would
You're
have
gonna,
to
like,
have
shoot yourself in the
reservations.
foot.
I really hope so, because you can't just have. Everybody's going to want to go there, obviously. So you can't just have like a big line outside like they used to do with the lounge. It's just not going to work.
And
especially with
their
these new menus, especially with the new entrees is what I was about to say, because it's going to take people longer to sit there than, well, maybe not, I don't know, but I just feel like if you're going to be eating, you're going to need to have a reservation. All the other Downtown Disney places do reservations, so
Right.
it just makes sense to me, but we shall see.
Well, it'll be nice to have it back on board, along with things like Award Wieners is coming
I didn't know that they were
back,
going to open that, because like in the beginning article they didn't mention award wieners, and then on this article they did, and I was like, what?
Yeah.
Hey, I mean, that's okay. Like, more people have places to eat, you know. Now we have to find places to sit and eat said stuff.
What I see happening now is, knowing that Award Wieners is going to be open, is that that's going to now stretch back into the Hollywood backlot and Stage 17, which is reopened as a premiere shop that we know about. And I think it's going to be one giant like U-shape at this point, where you can access at all different angles. So that'll be nice. I'm sure we'll see maybe a one direction in, one direction out sort of situation. But I definitely see more of the California Adventure space opening up. I'm really glad to hear that they have pushed down into the Hollywoodland section. So that just tells me that likely we're going to see more of that park opened up as we venture into 2021.
Maybe like in the beginning of the year or something, when like the holiday crowds kind of died down, they're able to like slowly open things up. Oh yeah, I'm ready.
I don't think I've ever been so excited to see Hollywoodland.
Yeah.
I like the Tea Party time, but Mad Tea Party was fun. But besides that, I've never been so excited to go over there again. So it should be really cool. By the way, we got decked while we were talking.
Yeah, look at that. Magic everywhere. Oh my, Christmas cheer has exploded, and we are preparing ourselves for the season ahead. It's never too early. For you after Thanksgiving only people, that's enough. We're good to go. Okay.
Got him.
Disneyland Resort is also sending cancellation notices to hotel guests and people that had booked through November the 21st. We have seen this week to week. We report on it every time we hear an update. So keep in mind, every week you hear from us that reservations, once again, canceled through now November the 21st. So if you had hotel reservations, you're probably going to be getting an email, if you haven't already, to let you know that the hotels will not be available for you as we venture towards the end of November. Hopefully, we will see some hotel action soon. I would like to see California Adventure being so close to the Grand Californian Hotel. I'd like to see the Grand open up in some capacity.
It'd
and
be nice to see their new spa that they maybe have finished, possibly.
bring that
Question
on.
mark. I
Yeah.
want to go to Trader Sam's.
Yeah?
No, that's like the
I
hard
miss Trader
part.
Sam's so much.
He almost cried.
I'm
Rick.
gonna
Can you hear
cry.
it?
No tears.
His voice
No
just
tears.
cracked.
At least we get to go back to Carthay Circle.
At
That's
least
true.
there's that.
Yeah.
Because there's like, they can do Napa Rose. There's like a lot of space in there. They can open up their new bar. There's not really a lot of space in that new bar area in Napa, but I feel like if they just opened up like that one hotel, one in, one out kind of thing, I think that'd be nice. People would pay, I feel like, to go there. I mean, maybe, I don't know.
No, I
all
definitely
three
think people
hotels,
would
they
pay.
wouldn't, I don't think they would make a lot of money with all three hotels, but at least one, and it's like their highest level one, would be actually a pretty good deal. Like, I mean, if they open like the club level and stuff, I feel like that'd be really cool too. I'd be like, shit, I'll go.
I'm surprised with the allowance of indoor dining now in the state that we're not seeing hotel restaurants reopen, especially going towards Thanksgiving. It's such a big day for hotel restaurants. And so kind of surprising. I mean, it's a place that I make a part of my tradition every year. Every Thanksgiving, I'm at a Disney hotel restaurant.
That's right.
Oh yeah, what are you gonna do?
Oh no, you
This
have to
year-
I didn't
cook.
think about that.
I'm going to a place elsewhere in Orange
Oh,
County
okay.
now, and it's not Disney themed, unfortunately, but they're open and serving a Thanksgiving meal. So now we will have to venture on off
How
to.
devastating. You loved their stuffing and stuff.
Oh, I loved it so much.
Yeah, I know. Oh,
Yeah.
Well, hopefully they have a lot for you.
I'm sure they will.
Okay,
Yeah, but to not have those hotel restaurants online is, I think, kind of a missed opportunity here.
Yeah.
Downtown Disney has been so popular since its return, and every day, they get to the point where it's pretty crowded and they need to stop letting people in, and weekends especially overwhelmed. Everybody wants to go to downtown Disney, and to not kind of see what's on the horizon in terms of potentially opening up those restaurants at the hotels, because they're such signature experiences. All of them are all so unique. It's unfortunate to see that it's not happening.
I feel like if they opened up Trader Sam's, it would be just freaking booming
Yes, it
every
would.
day.
But it would be
I
bad
just-
though, because then everybody just wants to like get in there and like see the interior and stuff. I love it. Don't get me wrong.
I mean, they could just do patio seating. I mean,
Yeah.
it's really not.
They
They've got a big
could.
patio, and they could even expand the patio because the hotel's not in service. So I mean, it's just
That's true. That's very true. But
What a point he made.
I know. Fine.
okay. Sorry, I'm so sorry that I made sense. Okay,
Yeah,
You
that's
win.
enough out of you, Tyler.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I
yeah. We're
love me, Christmas tree.
We're shutting down that logic. Thank you. Elsewhere in downtown Disney, other news that has been reported is it sounds like a parking fee is returning since downtown Disney has officially reopened. Parking fees and parking charges have been sort of suspended in that time frame where nobody's really had to worry about it. It's been complimentary, and something that Disney was kind of getting, very, I would say, popular for is increasing the price tag on their parking spots across the property, because anybody coming to visit Disneyland, that was something that they could incrementally raise month to month, year to year. And downtown Disney parking was going up every year, as was traditional parking for anybody looking to park for the theme parks. So to have had that complimentary parking be placed in the downtown Disney area as they officially reopen was a nice touch. However, that does open it up to absolutely everyone with a car to come flooding in, and oftentimes they would have to close their parking, especially on weekends, as things got too popular. So now a $10 parking fee sounds to be on its way, and we also saw recently the self-parking pay booth, if you will, or they almost look like little fast pass machines, and you have to now pay up front before you depart, and so that is now coming into the fray. So $10, I would only imagine that it's going to go up from here. We're going to be paying for parking again at Disneyland.
I'm sad, but also like, I don't know, if it does end up weeding people out, then I'll be happy. So I'm like kind of in the middle right now. I'm kind of like, it was nice to be able to just drive in and just go to a restaurant you want to go to or whatever, but hopefully it does keep people away, because it, like you said, they have to close down their parking lot from time to time, and sometimes downtown Disney feels a little crowded, so it would be nice to kind of weed out the people who are just kind of there to get their kind of Disney feeling and then leave, but because I feel like it should be reserved for people who want to eat at the restaurants or even shopping, I guess. But yeah, hopefully it weeds people out.
Yeah, not just the folks
Likewise.
that come and hang out all day and don't really do much. And
Yeah, just
have
like take
space
pictures and like those like Instagrammers that have to take their pictures and post stuff, and they get people to pay them to put on Disney shirts and whatnot, and so they just drive over there, take their pictures and stuff, and then leave. Or just people just have nothing to do during the day, so they just like walk over and just maybe just sit and get a Starbucks and just take their time. So I'm hoping that this kind of like weeds people out. And you're right, it's only going to go up from here. Like $10 is very fair.
Right.
I feel like if they're going to open up like part of DCA and like get more dining opportunities started, I feel like that's just very fair. And it's probably going to go up maybe if it starts getting abused a lot more. If they start like they're not able to handle the parking situation, it's probably going to go up to 20.
I feel like they should start charging by the time again. Like I think that would actually be if this is all about. Well, I know it's all about making money, but if kind of one of the nice things about it is it's going to keep some people away, I think they also need to do it by time again because.
But that might hurt them now because they want people to stay and buy stuff. So
But then new people could come in and buy stuff, It would and then they could even just be making more money if there's a minimum fee to even get in. But
And as we remember before, COVID made everything odd. Originally you were able to, for the longest time, come and visit Downtown Disney with a 3-hour grace period, right? For the longest time, that was what was in existence, and you were able to enjoy that. Disney started toying around with that in recent years, and then prices started going up, and time limits started to shrink, and they started doing different things. But
they're fair with the validation. I feel like they did like at the end. It was like if you dined at one of the restaurants, you got 5 hours.
Yeah.
So that worked for Tyler and I because we'd be like, oh, we'll just park at Downtown Disney. We're always going to eat dinner there. So we would always just get 5 hours. So it'd be fine. But if they did that, I'd be okay with it.
I mean, they had to do it when the park was open for sure because they didn't want people parking there instead of going to Mickey and Friends if they were going to spend their time at the theme parks. Like that made complete sense to me. But, I guess it would be kind of a bummer if they were charging by time again, and then you had to wait in line to get into World of Disney or something like that, and then your time was all of a sudden up, But, I mean, maybe these places could also offer validation so that people just aren't sitting around or, I don't know.
yeah, I think after a certain point, you're going to see the time limit restriction being put back into effect because Disney, I know, is already struggling to, on the weekends in particular, they're already struggling to deal with the just overwhelming nature of the crowds that would like to get into Downtown Disney. And reminder, everything is kept, capped as a capacity marker. So that's the only way that they can operate and function at the moment is by doing that. So I think that the moment Disney becomes serious about all right, it's really about efficiency, moving people in and out for the sake of giving folks more of an experience or, allowing them to come in, get what they need and go. I think we'll start to see that time limit creep back in. I was going to say crunch time a little bit more for people. So I think it'll be creeping back in sooner rather than later. But $10 coming your way very soon at Downtown Disney for a parking spot. Mayors across California have come together to pen a letter to the California state governor to essentially say your guidelines for Disneyland and theme parks of that size to reopen, they are a little much and might end up having to push out reopening theme parks and dramatically impacting all things associated with those theme parks, not just jobs, but the economies around these theme parks. You might be pushing that out to more than a year before we could see these theme parks reopen. In a statement, these mayors ended up saying the guidelines put forth by your administration were released within the framework of prioritizing public health and safety for guests and employees. That is the right focus. However, economic and public health are not mutually exclusive goals. We are concerned that the state's guidelines would push reopening of large theme parks up to a year out, which would have significant negative impacts on hundreds of thousands of jobs, thousands of small businesses, and billions in operating revenue for our cities. The mayor of Anaheim obviously signed on to this. San Diego's mayor, we saw the mayor of San Jose, mayor of Fresno, mayor of Bakersfield, mayor of Riverside, mayor of Santa Ana, and most surprisingly to me, the mayor of Los Angeles, Eric Garcetti, who to a certain degree has been kind of very supportive of lockdowns and very aggressive in the approach across the city of, ensuring nothing happens outside of, the lockdown structure. So I really thought of all the mayors on the list, he would be most supportive of the governor's initiative here and really kind of side with him on this. I was shocked to see his name. So this is great news because this shows how bipartisan of an issue this is and how concerning it is for these mayors across the state, especially because they're all located in and around major theme parks, in and around major facilities that are sort of smacked by these regulations. So very interesting to me to see how these mayors have come together to say, you might be a little short-sighted here, Katrina.
I agree that it was surprising to see him do it, but then in the end, I'm not surprised that Mayor Garcetti signed it, because he was all about Universal and he was all about tourism. He's all about people visiting Los Angeles. He's so proud of Los Angeles. So going back to there was a press event that you even went to, and then Garcetti was there and he was talking and he was talking about the future goals and what he wanted to do. So for him to sign this, I was not surprised, because if he did not sign this, I would be livid because that everything he was so passionate about at this press event about tourism, about Universal bringing all this tourism back to LA and all this stuff, and then he didn't sign it, I'd be like, ooh.
Yeah. We thought that they were going to try and turn Universal Studios into more of a resort with all of the hotels being a major part of it, things like that. Maybe even a second theme park eventually. The way that Garcetti was talking, it seemed very likely that they were in the works to do things with the city, and none of that stuff panned out, and now this. So I don't know what's going on with that. But yeah, hearing Garcetti is signing that thing, that makes complete sense to me. We've talked about this stuff before, and obviously Newsom is ignorant to the subject or has some type of weird pride on the line or something like that, where he just doesn't understand that these places have the capabilities to be the safest places to actually be, because they're private businesses and they care so much about the people that are going there. They not only care about, they don't want to hurt anybody, but also they have a reputation to uphold. So out of every business I've been to since this whole pandemic started, Disney World felt like the most professional and safe to me, despite the amount of people around. Now, sometimes you're going to get people who aren't necessarily obeying the rules or whatever, but the cast members were just incredible out there at getting people to follow the rules and not being rude about it, and they are very careful. And I just feel like Newsom, again, there's some type of ignorance going on here, that he just can't get with the picture. And the fact that all these mayors are on board with this is just dude, come on, admit you're making a mistake eventually here, because the thousands and thousands of people are losing their jobs. Small businesses are going out. It's not just Disney. Disney's huge, yeah. But all these little small people around Anaheim, around all these around Universal Studios, they're just being sent into the ground. And we need to be safe, but we also need to remember that we've got to come out of this alive at the end.
Right.
I mean, it's really that simple.
I mean, California is a tourist place. I mean, they have ads everywhere to visit California. And then because California has so many different opportunities, there's, the north, there's the south, there's the desert, there's whatever, there's the beaches. There's so many things. And so for him to literally poop on all of California and not open it, you're ruining every single city. It doesn't matter about the theme parks. Like what Tyler said, it's all about the employees that work there. It's all about the little businesses that feed off of all of this, off the big people, and it's just
all the vendors, all of the people that support these theme parks and keep them running, all those services.
There's so many levels
a lot of layers.
Things. There's so many layers that just go into a theme park, that go into all of this stuff, and I feel like he's just, I don't know what he's thinking. He's just, I think he's just thinking of I don't want to obey with Disney, and I want to win versus Disney having the say and Disney owning me and stuff. And it's that's not the point. It's you're right. The vendors, everybody has a communal thing. Even airlines, they kind of live off of people visiting California. I mean, I don't want people traveling just to travel right now.
I mean, everybody going to Disney World, I mean, that's a huge thing for them. And the traveling is massive. And It's just, I would understand, and we've talked about it, but I would understand if this was like a sweeping thing for like a lot of different types of businesses. But really at this point, theme parks are the only ones getting the shaft.
Yeah,
like
singled out.
It's really just insane to me. I just can't believe I can go to a movie theater and I can't go to Disneyland. It's just really incredible. And even to the point where places like Knott's Berry Farm and now Buena Vista Street are opening, and it's like, how can you say that is safe, but then if you're sitting on a moving bench that has like, like a ride basically, then that's not safe? It just doesn't make any sense to me. And it's insane. It's insanity.
We definitely saw, as of probably a week or so ago, 2 lawmakers from the state of California challenge the governor's executive orders and the emergency powers within court. That has been upheld, as a matter of fact. And so it sounds like at this point, while it doesn't directly impact the theme park decree, anything moving forward in terms of emergency power orders coming from the governor now have to be, it sounds like, reviewed by the state legislator and approved. That's good news, because we've made the case here several times that it does feel like theme parks are being singled out. And when using the emergency power that the governor has, which all governors are using right now due to the pandemic, you have to apply the measurements fairly across the board. And for the longest time, there was a path for all businesses to reopen unless you were a theme park. And it wasn't even given to the theme parks until just recently. And now it's in a position where the criteria is so far out in terms of being able to be met that it doesn't even make sense, to the point now that you're seeing mayors come together across the state, including the most powerful of all being Mayor Garcetti of Los Angeles, to say, look, we need to reconsider this here, and we're hoping that through all of our effort, you'll see the same thing. So we can only hope that maybe this will move the needle. Maybe as all of these city executives come together to talk to the state executive and say, can you please think about this? And maybe we can come to some sort of agreement. Otherwise, maybe we will see something change moving forward. More Kingdom Report Live for you next.
Do you know everything the ghost host is going to say before he says it? Are you ready to thank the Venetians each time you board Spaceship Earth? Can you recite Walt's opening day dedication speech? Then join the Kingdom team today, the influential legacy fan community featuring exclusive merchandise that will alert all who've come to this happy place that you are more than just another guest. You are a trusted theme park fan. Don't miss out. Join the Kingdom team right now by visiting the homepage at kingdomreportlive.com. That's kingdomreportlive.com. And now, back to the magic.
Kingdom Team, all call-time questions, answers. You got those questions, we've got those answers. It is time to answer one of your questions. And this week, we are being asked the question, all from Progress City Time, saying, hey, do you see a scenario where the 28,000 employees who were subjected to layoffs will ever be rehired by Disney? Something that we've covered in recent weeks is the very unfortunate reality of so many tens of thousands of cast members, tens of thousands of employees from across the Walt Disney Company, Walt Disney World, Disneyland, Imagineering, and beyond, who have either been let go or are currently being notified that they no longer have a job. This is a great question, because I think that there's hope that potentially we will see, theme park and tourism rebound, and maybe those people can be hired back. However, there's a couple of things that have happened in the last few weeks that lead me to think we're not out of the woods yet, and I don't know if we're going to see even a bulk of those people, unfortunately, return. One of the key pieces of evidence to that is that the Disney CEO, Bob Chapek, has said that he's not ruling out more layoffs. And I would understand that as a CEO of a company during this climate, or any company, you're probably not going to rule that out because you don't know what's around the corner, and you don't know how much worse things are going to sort of devolve into. But Bob Chapek has recently mentioned that in an interview, saying that we hope we don't have to make more layoffs at the theme parks. We're watching very carefully what the state of California does as an indicator for whether we can retain some of our cast that are right now on furlough. We'd like to keep them on furlough until we can reopen. But I think what the government said was no time soon, we're not going to be pressured into reopening. Of course, he's referring to Disneyland there. That obviously gives us some pause. We'd like to put our cast members back to work, as many of them as soon as possible, if the government would let us do it. So you're seeing some deflection there from the CEO of Disney back onto the state of California. And this has been a very delicate balance because you also have a contingency of cast members and people that have been furloughed or laid off saying, you know, Disney, you chose to lay us off. You chose to push us out the door. And, you know, you're telling us that there wasn't any other possibility. There wasn't any other avenue we could travel. We're also seeing calls from Senator Elizabeth Warren, who has come out and said, hey, Disney, you need to answer for the rainy day fund that you basically spent. You've spent yourself into oblivion. Your executives got their pay reinstated, and now you're in a position where you're laying people off left and right. We have talked about this before, guys, where that was kind of the case, right? Where we saw how basically executive pay, which had been strangled a little bit as we marched through that entire pandemic and sort of what felt like the worst of things as stuff was shut down. The pay returned for executives across the board, and the optics of it all looked terrible because not only did the pay return, but then, what was it, a week later, they started laying people off. I don't know how tone deaf of a company you can be to have done something like that so close together. I understand that, you know, you have executives that went without pay for so long and now you're trying to make nice with them, but to turn around and then lay people off, how does that look? You know, no matter how you feel about things politically, that doesn't look good. That looks terrible. And it doesn't look like a company that says they care, like Disney always does, right? They're this family company, and yet they went ahead and turn around and did that. It's very unfortunate to see, and I know that in a letter that Senator Warren had penned to the Disney executives, she basically called them out for that and said, what are you guys doing? Why are you doing it? And you know, you should answer for this because it's not fair to all the people that work for you. In return, Disney CEO Bob Chapek responded to the letter and basically came about saying, you know, as you are well aware, this unprecedented crisis has had a devastating impact on companies nationwide, and businesses large and small have had to take the difficult steps required to weather the impact. He also said that the indictment that our past actions somehow weakened our financial cushion and our ability to retain and pay workers amid the pandemic is ill-considered and misleading. Katrina, this is something that I know draws a lot of fire from both sides of the aisle and from people that are like, well, what were those executives supposed to do? Of course, they already went without pay for so long. And then you hear from the cast members that have been on furlough. And while they did get their benefits taken care of for a certain amount of time, you know, it got to a point where not only did you have the federal unemployment running out, that boost that was there, you also had the benefits running out at a certain point, and then the layoffs started to happen. So, I mean, it's a messy situation for everybody, but definitely one where I can understand no matter what side of the aisle you stand on, it feels like there's an argument to be made.
I mean, no matter how you look at it, there's always going to be some kind of argument. And then, I mean, it was just really bad timing. I get it. The execs, a lot of them do a lot of work, and they do deserve to get paid, you know, their money. Mm-hmm. But I feel that, like, if Chapek was a good man, he would at least try to maybe cut some of the higher execs' salary by half to at least make it look good. If they really wanted to, like, look at it in a different way and then try not to, like, let go all those people at once and, like, slowly let them go, and that probably would have been a good idea. Yeah, I don't know. That was just that was ill timing. And then on top of it, it's just like, yeah, I really want to see these people come back in the future, these 28,000. I mean, more now, but sure. All the entertainment people are going to get cut. So I really want to see them come back, but they're going to get other jobs. Yeah. And so they're not going to come back, and maybe they will have an opportunity within like a couple years. I know like a couple people's contracts, they have 2 years to come back. If there is an opening or something and they're allowed to come back, they get up to 2 years, and then they get their status back at the 2 years. So if they do decide to come back within the 2 years, they get their status back. So I'm happy that they're at least trying to get people to come back if they are, able to actually open and have those positions available. But man,
Well, we
JPEG,
saw-
I swear, he makes me so mad. I'm just like, ugh, why would you cut people's stuff, like pay and then bring it back and then fire people?
He's
mean,
definitely.
I don't disagree with Warren.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
definitely not the guy that is the warm face of the company right now, and
Obviously.
has been put into a place where naturally he's going to take the brunt end of the stick
Yeah.
at this point. But one thing that I wanted to mention was we obviously saw 200 cast members get called back for Buena Vista Street. Naturally, more will get called back as things get to reopen. But at the same time, we saw thousands of people received the pink slips the same week that 200 people got called back just recently. And then on top of that, one thing that I wanted to say before I kick it over to you, Tyler, is we also witnessed the sort of on again, off again contentious relationship that Disney had with the Actors Equity Union out in Walt Disney World. And that was all over how they were going to officially reopen and what was comfortable for the union and the members. And then finally they came to an agreement. And then right after the agreement happened, hundreds of performers got laid off just this past week, and they were then kicked to the curb too, unfortunately. And all these shows that we thought were probably going to come back in some capacity are not on the docket to return, and all of these shows are now up for the questioning of, are they even going to come back after this? We talk about Voyage of the Little Mermaid a lot at Hollywood Studios, and are certain experiences even going to return at this point? So this one, it all stings, and I know that they're a business and they have to make these decisions that are going to affect people's lives, but it sure felt like this could have been handled a little bit better.
Yeah, I mean, so I get it. Like, I think what Chapek is trying to say is they set off certain funds for this and certain funds for that. And, like the money that comes in for this doesn't necessarily have anything to do with the money that goes out for that. Like, I get how giant corporations work. At the same time, when you get called out for that type of thing and your response is, "You don't get it, Elizabeth. You don't know what you're talking about.
Sit down, Elizabeth.
You're so short-sighted." Like, honestly, that is sad, and it is inexcusable, in my opinion. I think that it is disgusting, and he should be ashamed of himself, and a lot of those executives should be ashamed of themselves, because they're making millions and millions of dollars while these other people are all getting laid off. And I get that people are going to get laid off no matter what, and it wasn't their fault that coronavirus is happening. But the timing, just everything about it was just terrible. These people don't deserve, I don't care what their job is. They don't deserve to make millions and millions and millions every year when they're firing tens of thousands of people. I really don't believe it. And people are probably going to call me a socialist or something like that. But I mean, we're at the point in this country where like the top 10% of the people in this world, that have the people that there's 10% of the people that have 90% of the wealth at this point, and that's not how we should be doing things. And so to hear that this guy can't take a pay cut for more than a few months while he's also firing people left and right, just screw you, Chapek, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, I honestly feel that way. And and just calling out a senator saying, "Well, you don't get it." Like, what a poor excuse. Then explain it. Why does it not work, Chapek? Why do you have to have that much money? Because he has no legitimate reason.
How much does he
it's
make a
just
year?
Well, I know that there's the flat rate that he makes, but then what was getting called into question a lot were the bonuses that executives were making, and that's where they really make out well. So, their flat base rate, like I think even Bob Iger for the longest time was making just under double-digit millions as the CEO
Must
for as
be
long as he
nice.
was, which is interesting because in terms of other media companies and stuff like that, Disney being the biggest media company in the world, Bob Iger was basically afforded at kind of a steal in terms of how much he was getting paid. Other media company CEOs made a heck of a lot more than he did. I think Disney gets called out a lot because they are the company that they are, and they're all about the warm feelies and the emotional connection. And so Bob Iger was getting paid a lot less than most CEOs that run media companies were. I don't know what Chapek's initial salary was, but they make their extra millions. They make their biggest money when it comes to all the bonuses. And the bonus structure got reinstituted. And that to me, it's like, okay, if the whole company is tanking and the whole company is feeling the wrath of the pain of the pandemic, everybody is on this boat together, or at least it should seem that way.
No, they're on like a dinghy boat that's like, bye, see ya. Like,
Rolling
what is
out.
their bonus? Like, how do they get their bonus?
Yeah.
Because honestly, the business isn't doing very well right now. So if I hear that they're getting an end of year bonus, I'm going to get mad. Like all these, like you try to live for $15 an hour.
Yeah.
And the frontline workers are getting yelled at and getting pooped on by everybody saying to wear a mask, and then they get like verbally like yelled at by people. Like I want them to deal with that and they don't get paid enough. And then to see like their friends just get fired because there's not enough money, and all these execs are getting like double-digit millions of dollars just to sit in an office and not have to deal with all these people are pretty shitty.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. When we're in a situation where everybody's having to sort of tighten their belts and buckle up a little bit, sad to see that, at any point people have to lose their jobs anywhere. But it's definitely one of those situations where the optics of how things panned out here just looked so bad for Disney and for such an image-conscious company, right? Such an organization that always seems to be about their people and about their brand and about taking care of everybody and the warm feelies. This one was not handled very well. I think we can all agree on. So, at any rate, the battle rages on, and certainly the claim could be made that being told to balance a budget from any sort of politician might be a little wild of an accusation to come in. But I certainly understand that there's a representative of the people now calling on a private company or a company that has so much invested that they need to speak up and answer for some questions that are out there. And there's a lot of people that have been affected by this, and certainly not Disney. It's across the board. A lot of people in hospitality right now are suffering and dealing with so much pain and not knowing where their next meal or how they're going to pay for the roof over their head, how that will pan out moving forward. But for everybody's sake, this is definitely one of those situations that stings a little bit on how it was carried out. And I'm sure this isn't the last we've heard from Senator Warren and from lawmakers that are looking at Disney as an example to be held. And definitely we're going to be hearing more from that down the line. Well, my friends, if you have a different opinion, if there's something that we missed here in terms of this discussion and you'd like to share it with us, make sure that you leave it in the comment section down below and share with us your perspective, because that's what it's all about, being able to have that trusted theme park perspective for more than just us. We're always listening to you. Well, this about wraps things up for us on our 1-year anniversary. I can't believe it's been an entire year.
Happy
hip,
1
hip,
year,
hooray.
you guys.
Happy
We did
1
it.
year. I can't believe it.
I could reach over there, but
Oh.
I won't be able to because we're 6 feet apart.
It's 2. We're so far apart. And
I'll
when we
touch you.
when we
Happy.
started this
Hello.
thing, I was about a foot away from you, Katrina.
I know, we were so close.
And then I moved further and further away.
just-
and
It's
true.
drifted
down the
apart.
road, and now,
And poor Kurt, I can barely even see you over there.
yeah,
My gosh.
that dungeon is dark.
I know.
Turn a light on in there. I just
It's
can't.
better if you can't see me.
It's
It's
so hard to see you.
yeah. I prefer it this way. It's all.
But we have to see your mug.
Yeah,
I mean, not your face. I mean, your mugs.
yeah,
Oh,
your
okay.
mugs and cups.
That makes more sense.
That's right. Yeah.
Dad joke.
LOL. On that note,
you got a
please.
good one there.
Get me off the internet, please.
Well, so Tyler and Katrina, it sounds like you guys are headed to Vegas.
Yes.
We are, yeah.
Yeah.
He just needs to go gamble. No.
So
Sure.
need to feed that need, huh?
Well, they make you get these little slips now when you play in the casinos at Vegas, like which I'm sure you're familiar with, Wade, and because you were just there as well. So.
I was, yeah.
But they make you get these little slips that now have your money on them, and I realized like a few months ago, like I still have one of those slips that has a decent amount of money on it, and it's it's a good excuse to go back to Las Vegas and spend it, because otherwise it's going to expire and I won't have any money anymore. So
I know this little piece of paper is worth so much money.
I know. Well, I know. You got to have fun, but yeah, expect a lot of pictures next weekend on some of the fun attractions and stuff that happen out there in Vegas, and definitely we'll have some cool stuff on Twitter. But we'll still be on the show next weekend. So
virtually.
Virtually.
It'll be fun. It'll
Yes.
be like the
times.
early days of the pandemic.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
The good old times, you know.
Hip, hip, hooray. Well,
Yeah.
I am so grateful to have had the both of you here all year. And thank you so much
Yes.
for being a part of the show. Thank you, Producer Kurt, for your year of service. It means so
course.
much.
Thank you for having me here, Wade.
Oh, my God, Kurt, I wouldn't and couldn't imagine it without you.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed this last year.
Somehow I think you're lying to me. I don't know.
Not at all, Wade.
No.
This was fun. It's been a good year.
Huh?
It's been good.
You would say it's
to
been
me.
good?
Yeah,
Yeah.
probably the best year ever, right?
Whoa.
Oh.
I mean, now that I
That's
think
a
about
heavy
it.
statement right there.
Now that I
like
think
it.
about it,
It's great.
probably the best year ever.
Yeah.
Thanks, Kurt. Well,
I'm
my
not going
friends,
to agree.
Wow.
well, it's always up for
feelings
debate,
right
I
there.
suppose. Yeah. Well, we appreciate you spending the last year with us. If you're somebody that no doubt found us throughout the year, as we have been plugging away every Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Pacific, or found our videos elsewhere on the Kingdom Report on YouTube, we want to thank you for not only finding us, but sticking with us and sharing the content, mentioning it to others. That's the only way that we grow. That's the only way that people find us. So thank you for being a part of Kingdom Report Live and the Kingdom Report as a whole, and helping us grow and helping us become something a little bit more than that initial first episode, which had a couple hundred of our friends tuning in and people hoping for the best. And now here we are, thousands and thousands of people later, all enjoying the magic that we are able to provide you via the Disney Parks and Resorts. It never gets old, and it's always a treat. So thank you. We are honored to be a part of your weekend every weekend, and we will see you next Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Pacific for an all-new Kingdom Report Live.